Am I overreacting for calling off my wedding after my fiancé admitted that his family was secretly testing me to see if I was a gold digger? I would say she would not be overreacting, but let's read into this. I, 24 female, have been with my fiancé, 27 male, for almost 4 years. He has a really well paying job in tech, and I make pretty average money. We've always split this things fair, and I've never asked him for expensive stuff or trips or anything. I honestly thought money was non-issue for us. I never was interested in him for his money anyways. We genuinely clicked so well and loved his personality. We are into the same nerdy things, and his family seemed to really like me. I never thought I would have to worry about our relationships going south until now. So, a few days ago, my fiance sat me down and said he had something he wanted to talk to me about, and he was smiling like it was good news. He basically told me that his family has been secretly testing me for the last 11 months to make sure I was not a gold digger. He said they were worried I only liked him for his income and wanted proof before we got married. The test was that they all made it seem like he was struggling financially and might lose his job. His mom would casually bring up layoffs. His dad talked about how unstable tech is, and slowly it turned into he might actually lose his job, and you guys might have to really downsize. At one point, his mom even told me I should be prepared to financially help him if it came to that. I never wanted to bring up the possibility of layoff for him because I didn't want to stress him out. I wanted to be prepared to support him if I needed, as anyone should. So I started budgeting more, saving money, cutting back on random spending, skipping stuff I wanted, and just generally trying to prepare for the worst. I constantly reassured my fiance, encouraged him, told him we'd be fine, that I didn't care about the money, that I just wanted us. But this whole thing was fake. His job was never in danger. His income never changed. There were no layoffs. His family literally planned this whole thing together. They kept it going for almost a year. Subtle comments made in passing to manipulate me and test me. Apparently, this all started because his older brother went through a really messy divorce. His brother now pays a ton in child support, and his ex-wife got a lot of money in the divorce. And his family fully blames her and thinks she was a gold digger. So now they're super paranoid about any woman who dates one of their sons. The thing is, I've actually met his brother's ex-wife before. She was dropping off the kids at a family night, and she seemed really nice and normal. I never once got gold digger vibes from her, and honestly, it makes me uncomfortable how much they demonized her. My fiance said his parents finally told him that I passed and that they felt comfortable with him marrying me now. He said he wanted to tell me because he thought I'd be relieved to know he actually isn't struggling financially, and that is, it shows how much his family cares about protecting him. Then he tells me that to celebrate, he upgraded our honeymoon to a nice luxury resort in Hawaii. I mentioned this resort when initially honeymoon planning, but deemed it too expensive, so settled for a more modest option. But I feel weird about it. I don't want to be rewarded for being manipulated really well. Like, good job, we tricked you, and you were so gullible you believed it. Here's a nice vacation. Yeah, that would feel very dishonest. I told him I felt manipulated, embarrassed, and honestly humiliated. That his whole family was watching my reactions and judging my character behind my back for almost a year. He said I'm looking at it wrong and that I proved I'm not with him for his money, and that this should make me feel more secure in a relationship. I wish I could ask my family what they thought, but unfortunately my mom passed away 2 years ago and I don't have a relationship with my father. Sorry, That sucks, OP. I'm feeling sad and lost because I don't have a reliable second opinion to lean on. His family had become my family. That's what makes this even harder. His family is acting like this is totally normal and that I should be proud of myself. His mom literally said most girls wouldn't have handled that so gracefully. I told him I needed space. I'm seriously considering calling off the engagement, but I honestly don't know what to do. I love him, and this is so out of left field. Now everyone is acting like I'm blowing things out of proportion and being dramatic. Part of me wonders if I am. But another part of me feels like my trust is completely broken. Am I overreacting? I'm not sure if tests like this are normal. I feel weird about it. I don't know. Please help. Honestly, I don't know what I would do. That sounds very manipulative. And for a whole year, the whole family just made up different scenarios to test you. That sounds very dishonest and like it would break a lot of trust for sure. Um I'm glad you took the time to or are taking the time away from it and reconsidering things because this is a big deal. Okay, so there's an edit. A lot of comments were saying, why didn't they ask for a prenup? And she says, we actually did discuss this before we got engaged, and I told him I would be open to a prenup. I brought this up when he confessed, and he said he wasn't necessarily worried about divorce. The whole thing was about testing my character and making sure I was a morally good person before he married me. It doesn't make much sense to me and feels like his whole family went way out of their way to do some stupid morality test. I've never even given the indication that I'm shallow, so it really hurts. I just think they are suspicious of any outsiders who come into their family. Okay, let's continue because we have an update. Thank you all for your comments. It means a lot to have so much support and validation. I knew right away deep down that this was wrong, but I needed validation, as bad as that sounds. I don't have a close family or many friends, so hearing that my feelings are normal makes me feel less alone. This happened a couple of days ago. I'm still staying with my fiance right now, but things are tense and I feel anxious pretty much all the time. He knows I'm upset and knows I need space, so he hasn't tried to talk about it since. He knows I'm considering calling off the engagement, which is why I think he's been so sensitive around me the last few days. He hasn't been acting like it's a positive thing anymore and seems pretty remorseful since I told him how much it hurt me. This morning I asked him if he knew about it the whole time, and he told me that his parents started making the comments without his knowledge, and after he overheard a comment they made to me while over at his parents' house, he asked them in private why they said that, and they explained they were testing me. He decided to let them continue just to see what I would do. From past interactions with his parents, I also know he has a hard time standing up to them or disagreeing with them. So it honestly makes sense that he didn't call them out and just started going along with it. They offended when I suggested an expensive resort for the honeymoon and made a comment insinuating that his parents would pay for it. They got it in their head that I just expected them to shoulder the cost of the expensive resort without question, which isn't true. I happily accepted for a more modest option when they suggested it because I don't want to seem pushy or entitled. Plus, typically the groom's family pays for the honeymoon, so I didn't know they were offended by that. Maybe I really did come off as entitled, but that was honestly never my intention. Regardless, I don't think that justifies testing me this way. He wasn't the mastermind, but that never stopped them and didn't see why it was wrong or manipulative until I told him how upset I was. Part of me wonders if he was manipulated by his parents to think this was acceptable. I'm torn between calling it off or having a conversation with him asking him to go to couples counseling, plus set serious boundaries with his parents. I also see some suggestions recommending that I talk to his brother's ex-wife. I think that's a good idea, but I'm honestly really nervous about it. I don't have her number, but I follow her on Instagram, so I'm considering DMing her and asking to call her. I'm pretty overwhelmed with the attention this post is getting, but I'm super appreciative of everyone's support and love. I think I have realized I have people pleasing tendencies and I need to keep the peace, but I'm trying to force myself to break out of that. It's all just really scary and I feel really lonely. My natural inclination is to forgive and forget so that I can still have a family. I know that's not the best idea. I know change needs to happen. I'm still figuring out where to go from here. I'm sorry this post is so long. That is definitely a long one, but we appreciate it. We do have an update though. So, update 2. Well, my fiance found this post. Ooh, honestly, I feel pretty stupid for thinking he wouldn't find it. I didn't expect this post to get as much attention as it did, so thank you all for that. But I was extremely detailed, which was kinda dumb. He saw the post and immediately not clocked that I wrote it. He came to me yesterday with the post and I was super afraid he would be angry, but he was actually very understanding. He said reading the comments was super eye-opening to him on just how messed up this situation was. He feels bad that he ever even tried to spin this in a positive light. We had a pretty deep conversation and he came to realize that he has been manipulated very heavily by his parents and family. When his parents justify something, even if it's bad, his brain will immediately try to justify it because differing opinions were not allowed in his household growing up. This whole situation has started the realization for him that he grew up manipulated and emotionally abusive household, but was never given space to realize it because they had extreme us versus them mentality. So even when an extremely normal and well-intentioned person comes into the family, me and his brother, or brother's ex, they will do anything they can to invalidate their character because they are uncomfortable with outsiders. Interesting. This was definitely deeper than the surface level. I have learned a lot about myself through this situation as well. First of all, I'm emotionally vulnerable and need therapy bad. My need to belong has caused me to stay in situations that are unhealthy for me just because I'm so desperate for a family. I know that's bad and I know it will be hard, but I want to change. With that being said, even though my fiance was very remorseful and apologetic, I told him I want to call off our wedding and take a break from our relationship. We both have issues we need to work on by ourselves before we consider joining in marriage. That's pretty smart. I want to figure out who I am without someone to lean on, as painful as that may be, and he needs to seriously evaluate his relationship with his family and how they have affected him. I told him that if in the future we find ourselves emotionally healthy and timing works out, maybe we can be together again, but for right now, that's not the case, so we need to go our separate ways. We still live together and I don't exactly have anywhere to go, so my fiance said he will move out and I try to find other living arrangements. He will pay his portion of the lease until I find another roommate. Again, thank you all for the comments, support. They mean a lot to me. Yeah, that was a long one, but that was very eye-opening for both of you guys, it seems like. It seems like your fiance, now ex, was very much in a bubble, like a family bubble, and he never had somebody point that out. So knowing that now, this is just the starting point of basically figuring out where he had some trauma, if he had any, and what kind of boundaries he needs to learn to put up. And that's definitely something he should work on alone before jumping into a relationship again. And for you, the people pleasing aspect is definitely hard to get over as well. But it sounds like you made a good decision, and moving forward, you also have some growth. So that's good. You never know. Maybe your paths will lead back together, but for now, you guys definitely need to work on things on your own. But let's read some comments. In their efforts to prove that you are a morally decent person, they have proven that they are not. Yeah, for sure. They thought she wasn't good enough for him, they're not good enough for her. Yeah, anybody that manipulates to prove a point or a test has definite issues themselves. Another comment, since they've made it very clear that his entire family, him included, is willing to conspire behind her back to lie to and manipulate her. Yeah, you found one massive flaw in his personality, and it's absolutely one I'd consider a deal breaker. For sure. Definitely a deal breaker. Because even if his intentions were good, it's way deeper. For people to scheme for a whole year just to prove your character, it doesn't matter if they think that the past relationship caused them to do these things. Yeah, yeah. Let's continue reading. Someone said, as soon as I read that he happened to overhear, then confronted his parents, but ultimately go along with it, I feel that is a blatant lie. I'm almost 100% sure he was involved from the get-go, and just has no spine to admit to her he was in on it. Now he can dress it up like he tried and was uncomfortable, but ultimately couldn't go against his parents. Maybe. You never know. There's many sides to this coin, for sure. But all in all, I'm glad they decided to take space away from themselves, from each other. And also, Opie is only 24. That's very young. Her fiance's 27. Yeah, he should have known a little better. He's older. That's even worse. Just considering the age gap. Yeah, it sounds like it's only 3 years, but when someone's still like in their earlier 20s and someone's in their late 20s, there's definitely yeah, I don't like that, considering that either. So all in all, I think it's very much of course it's sad because it's a heartbreak. They loved each other, they almost got married, but knowing this whole scenario off the bat, it saved Opie a lot of heartache in the future, and I'm sure she'll grow a lot from it and find someone that actually deserves her. So, thanks for watching. This was a fun one. Comment in the comments if you want to see more of these because it was pretty fun. It was long, but it was fun. So, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you later.